The Galactic Empire was a colossus spanning countless star systems, its power unrivaled, its reach absolute. For centuries it maintained its dominion through a combination of technological superiority, fear, and the most feared enforcers in the galaxy, the Zhir'vok. These alien assassins were the pinnacle of engineered perfection, silent, precise, and utterly loyal. No target had ever escaped their grasp, no mission had ever been refused. To defy the Zhir'vok was to court death, to be chosen as their target was to accept oblivion. Humanity had always been a curiosity in the galactic theater, a species that emerged late onto the stage of interstellar politics. Primitive in technology compared to the core worlds, they compensated with a strange mix of ingenuity and tenacity. At first, the Empire dismissed them, seeing no value in a backwater species that barely managed to escape their homeworld's orbit a few centuries prior. But dismissing humanity was a mistake, and the Empire soon learned the cost of underestimation. The trouble began on the outer fringes of the Empire's territory, where human colonies had taken root on inhospitable worlds. These colonies should have fallen easily to the Empire's military campaigns, but they didn't. Instead, human settlements proved remarkably resilient. With meager resources and outdated equipment, they held off fleets, adapted to alien environments, and even turned setbacks into advantages. Their defiance was not born of arrogance but a fierce unwillingness to surrender. It wasn't long before humanity's resistance spread. What started as scattered skirmishes became a coordinated effort. The Empire found itself losing key outposts and supply lines to human-led insurgencies. Every attempt to stamp out the rebellion only seemed to strengthen their resolve. It was then that the Empire's High Council decided to bring the full weight of their authority down on humanity. If these creatures wanted to resist, they would be made an example for the galaxy. The Zhir'vok were summoned. The Empire's greatest weapon was unleashed with one simple order: eliminate humanity's leaders and crush their resistance from within. These assassins had silenced rebellions before. They had infiltrated impenetrable fortresses, assassinated kings in their sleep, and dismantled entire civilizations without a trace. No species had ever withstood their judgment. But for the first time in their storied history, the Zhir'vok refused. Without explanation, they declined the mission, their cold, mechanical voices echoing a single statement: "We do not target humanity." The council was stunned. Refusal was not in the Zhir'vok's nature. When pressed for an explanation, they offered none, only reiterating their decision with a strange finality. The refusal sent shockwaves through the Empire. Panic set in among the ruling elite. The Zhir'vok had been the linchpin of their control for generations. If they were unwilling to act, what did it mean? The Empire's confidence wavered, and for the first time in centuries, fear crept into the hearts of its rulers. They had expected humanity to fall like all the others. Instead, they were left grappling with a question they could not answer: what made humans so different? The Zhir'vok's refusal became the subject of intense debate across the galaxy. To the Empire, it was an act of insubordination that threatened their iron grip on power. To others, it was a riddle without an answer. Why would beings engineered to serve, beings who had no concept of rebellion or hesitation, suddenly draw a line in the sand for humanity? As whispers of the event spread, humanity itself became a subject of fascination. To the Zhir'vok, humans were unlike any species they had encountered in their long existence. Humanity's essence was a paradox. Fragile in body, yet unyielding in spirit. Primitive in many ways, yet capable of astonishing leaps in creativity and adaptation. Humans were survivors, improvisers, and dreamers. They defied conventional understanding, often succeeding where they had no logical right to prevail. For the Zhir'vok, who viewed life through the lens of precision and calculation, humanity was an enigma that could not be reduced to equations or probabilities. Their refusal was not born of fear or weakness but of a principle that even the Empire could not grasp. The Zhir'vok adhered to what they described as a universal law, an unspoken truth that governed the balance of existence. In their view, humanity represented something essential, an embodiment of life's potential, its chaos and order intertwined. To erase humanity would be to destabilize that balance, to silence a melody that resonated uniquely within the fabric of the cosmos. This perspective was not easily understood by the Empire, nor by humanity itself. But those who observed humanity up close began to see glimpses of what the Zhir'vok had recognized. Stories emerged of human ingenuity and resilience, painting a picture of a species that thrived in adversity. Colonists on barren worlds who turned wastelands into thriving ecosystems. Engineers who salvaged ancient alien wreckage and repurposed it into cutting-edge technology. Soldiers who, despite insurmountable odds, held their ground against overwhelming forces, driven not by orders but by sheer determination. Even in the face of extinction, humans refused to break. They adapted, they endured, and they inspired. It was not just their strength or intelligence that stood out, it was their capacity for hope, their ability to dream of a better future even when the present seemed bleak. This intangible quality set them apart, a spark that other species found difficult to replicate. The Zhir'vok, as silent observers, had seen countless civilizations rise and fall. They had witnessed greatness and folly, triumph and despair. But never before had they encountered a species that balanced its flaws and virtues so precariously, yet so beautifully. Humanity's imperfections were not weaknesses, they were the source of their strength. Their chaos birthed innovation, and their fragility nurtured compassion. This realization was the foundation of the Zhir'vok's decision. To target humans was to betray the very essence of life they were sworn to preserve. The Empire, obsessed with control and dominance, could not understand this reasoning. But for the Zhir'vok, the answer was simple: humanity mattered not because of its power but because of its potential. And that potential was worth protecting at any cost. The Empire, unaccustomed to defiance, responded to the Zhir'vok's refusal with a mix of outrage and desperation. Their first instinct was to circumvent the assassins entirely, commissioning mercenaries, bounty hunters and covert operatives to complete the task. The orders were clear: humanity's leaders must fall, and their resistance must crumble. Yet, as these new agents set out, their missions consistently ended in failure. Some met with outright defeat, underestimating the tenacity and unpredictability of their human targets. Others disappeared entirely, their fates unknown, as if the very act of hunting humanity carried its own curse. In the shadows, rumors began to spread that the Zhir'vok, while refusing to act directly, were subtly intervening. Weapons malfunctioned, escape routes were inexplicably closed off, and communications mysteriously failed. Whether true or not, the perception grew that the assassins were protecting humanity, and this perception sowed seeds of fear and uncertainty among the Empire's ranks. Each failure chipped away at the Empire's carefully cultivated image of invincibility. It wasn't just humanity that was watching. Species across the galaxy, long subjugated and silenced, began to pay attention. Humanity's defiance, coupled with the Zhir'vok's unprecedented stance, emboldened whispers of rebellion in the far corners of the Empire. Within the Empire itself, the leadership began to fracture. High-ranking officials blamed each other for the escalating crisis. Some argued that humanity should be left alone, that the cost of their destruction was becoming too great. Others insisted on doubling down, proposing ever more drastic measures to crush the uprising. As these internal divisions deepened, trust in the central authority began to erode. At the same time, humanity continued to resist, undeterred by the Empire's escalating efforts. Their tactics became more sophisticated, their alliances stronger. Human diplomats reached out to other oppressed species, sharing strategies and fostering solidarity. Where the Empire had sought to isolate humanity as a singular threat, it inadvertently united a growing coalition of those who had long yearned for freedom. The tipping point came when a human envoy, speaking before a clandestine assembly of alien leaders, made a bold declaration. They did not seek to replace the Empire with another system of domination but instead proposed a future of mutual cooperation, where no species would hold power over another. It was an idea radical in its simplicity, and it resonated deeply with those who had suffered under the Empire's rule. This vision of unity, combined with humanity's relentless example, sparked a wave of uprisings across the galaxy. Colonies that had once been silent now erupted in rebellion. Entire fleets defected from the Empire, unwilling to continue serving a regime that could no longer command loyalty. The Zhir'vok, true to their cryptic principles, remained observers. They neither aided nor hindered the uprising directly, but their refusal to intervene on the Empire's behalf spoke volumes. The Empire's foundations, long believed unshakable, began to crumble. Their authority was no longer absolute, their fear no longer sufficient. And as the galaxy turned against them, they faced a new and unfamiliar reality. For the first time in their history, they were losing control. The Empire's defeat was no longer a distant possibility, it was an inevitability. Their fleets, once the symbol of galactic dominance, were scattered and broken. Systems that had been tightly under their control now openly declared independence or joined the growing coalition led by humanity. The Empire's leadership, cornered and desperate, sought to salvage what they could of their crumbling dominion. In an act of uncharacteristic humility, they sent envoys to humanity with a plea: spare them from total annihilation. The decision now rested with humanity. Having risen from obscurity to the forefront of a galaxy-wide rebellion, they held the power to determine the Empire's fate. Many within their ranks called for vengeance, for a reckoning to match the centuries of oppression inflicted by the Empire. Others urged caution, warning that replacing one tyranny with another would only perpetuate the cycle of violence. The debate was fierce, but it was ultimately guided by humanity's core philosophy, a belief in second chances and the value of progress over destruction. The response to the Empire was swift and clear. Humanity did not seek conquest or domination. Instead, they demanded a complete dismantling of the Empire's authoritarian systems. Its leaders would stand trial for their crimes, its resources would be redistributed to rebuild the worlds it had exploited, and its vast bureaucracy would be restructured to serve the people it once oppressed. The terms were firm but not vindictive, offering a path forward rather than a descent into chaos. The galaxy watched in awe as humanity, despite holding the upper hand, chose a path of mercy and reconciliation. This act solidified their position as not just a military force but a moral one, a species capable of leading by example rather than fear. The coalition they had inspired grew stronger, united not by conquest but by shared purpose. Even the Zhir'vok, enigmatic as ever, seemed to approve in their own silent way. They had remained passive throughout the rebellion, watching as the galaxy reshaped itself. To them, humanity's choice affirmed what they had seen from the beginning, a species that thrived not through dominance but through potential, growth, and the ability to inspire. The aftermath of the Empire's fall was a time of transformation. Formerly oppressed species took their first steps toward self-governance, guided by humanity's council and the coalition's shared principles. Trade routes reopened, scientific collaboration flourished, and long-standing enmities began to heal. Humanity itself, though still recovering from the costs of rebellion, became a symbol of hope for the galaxy. A reminder that even the smallest spark could ignite a revolution. The Empire, once the galaxy's unchallenged ruler, was reduced to a cautionary tale. Its surviving leaders, stripped of their power, became witnesses to a new era shaped by the very species they had sought to destroy. And as the galaxy moved forward, the Zhir'vok retreated into the shadows once more, their role fulfilled. They had not acted to destroy or to save, but to preserve the balance they so deeply revered. For humanity, the victory was more than just survival. It was a statement of what they could become. They had faced annihilation and emerged stronger, not by overpowering their enemies but by choosing a path that uplifted everyone. In their triumph, they proved that sometimes, the greatest strength lies not in destruction, but in the courage to build a better future.